Hey, how you doing? I'm Jimmy Turner. I'm a senior here. I'm an accounting major. I also play football. I'm involved in a few organizations, and I'm mainly here to go into deep detail and understanding of what ARM means to me and why the football team decided to start it.
Hello, I'm Brandon Taylor. I'm a senior here. I'm an excited sports science major. I also play football, and I'm also a part of a couple organizations here on campus. I'm the boss of the chapter here for Omega Psi Phi, and my teammate, my brother, a friend, just everything right here beside me. He is the keeper of records and seals of our chapter as well. And we're here, like he said, to explain to you all and go into detail about how we got ARM started, how it started within the team, how we felt about it, like I said, how we got it going, how we felt it played out, and what we plan on doing going forward.
All right, so I'll initially start.
I'm going to ask them to space and take your mask off. So I think you'll be able to be heard a little bit better. So do the 6 feet.
Yes, sir.
And when you're talking, you can take the mask off so they can hear a little bit better. Okay. So,
All right, so initially.
No, you get up to the mic.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
All right, so initially, what ARM had meant to me is the anti-racial movement, and I feel like right now in America we're in a time period where it's right versus wrong, and I feel like wrong is me judging somebody off the color of their skin. I feel like at the end of the day, I should be able to look at you as a man or a woman and judge you off what's inside of you, your character, your work ethic, your demeanor, and the way you handle things under pressure versus just looking at you and trying to throw you into a category and filter you based off things that I'm just assuming or discriminatory issues. ARM is the anti-racial movement is kind of something that was adopted by the football team. One morning back in early September, a lot of African Americans and Caucasian males on the football team decided that the problem in America is bigger than football. And with that being said, to go into further understanding this, how is it that I can go out here and play for you, or I can listen to an hour and 15-minute lecture and you test me on information, but you don't know how I feel in this country as an African American man, or the suppression I feel or the oppression I feel from anybody. I feel like everybody that walks this planet, male, female, no matter what color you are, has been discriminatory against by somebody that you may know or you may not know. And I feel like that's wrong. And I feel like in order for us to change it, it's something that we have to start here, because the police officers of tomorrow are the same police officers that are sitting right next to you in your class today, who you may not know how they feel, but a conversation can change a decision in 20 years. You feel me? I feel like at the end of the day, we have got to do better as Cumberland University, as men, as young women, and coming together, because in America and in this world, there's so many things that can separate you. There's so many things that people try to categorize, to throw people over here, and I feel like that's wrong, because at the end of the day, we all bleed the same, we all go through the same problems, whether you like to voice your problems or not. So with the anti-racial movement, I feel like it's about unity. I feel like there's a lack of unity in America, which I feel like is very, I would say, prevalent now due to social media. And instead of just turning a blind cheek to that or not doing anything, I feel like we need to come together and rise as if we are the Phoenix of Cumberland, and we could start here, and then we could expand into Middle Tennessee, and then next thing you know, we're at the edges of Tennessee, and then we're into the South. But we can't do that unless we come here and become one today. With the anti-racial movement, what it means to me is it means that I may not know you, but I understand things you're going through. I may not be able to relate or completely put myself in your shoes, but I'm not ignoring the fact of the things that you're going through that you cannot control. And that goes for men, women, because at the end of the day, there is a split in America right now. There is a split, and I feel like in order for us to take that split away, it has to come with us coming together. It might be ugly before it gets better, but you never know what a conversation today can change tomorrow. So that's my introductory piece on what arm means to me, and I'll let Brandon Taylor give his piece.
What's going on, everybody? What does arm mean to me? Arm means peace. Arm means unity. Arms mean having conversations that, that we can end up relating to and speaking about to break down those barriers that we put up and we've been taught to put up from the time we come into this world. Arm is exactly what it is, It's anti-racial movement, but it spells out arm. We are pushing to extend the arm of brotherly and sisterly love to be sure that we understand where both of us are coming from. That way we can better learn how to interact with each other. Because if you don't truly know where someone comes from, why they do what they do, why they act the way they act, you won't really understand why they do what they do. If you just don't know, if they don't understand, until you actually get to know them, you won't really know. And that's what arm means to me. And arm definitely means peace, because we all want it. We all want peace. Each and every day, we all want it. Well, no matter what stresses come throughout the day, no matter what challenges come, we all shoot for peace. Everything we want out of life, it all ends back up at peace. And I'm sure we all want world peace, but we first must start within ourselves. We must begin to work within ourselves, because if you don't truly love yourself, if you don't truly care for yourself, if you don't truly, learn how to love yourself, how to care for yourself, those those wounds and those scars that you have within yourself, you will project on other people, and you will do it subconsciously. It just happened, and you won't realize it until you start consciously, thinking about what you're doing day in and day out. If you're abused when you were younger, whether it was mentally, physically, in any type of way, to keep from that happening again, you will have a wall up. And anytime somebody hits on, what you went through, just indirectly, it don't even have to be direct, you will lash out on them because you just have flashback and you just go back into that child that you once were, because you just haven't dealt with what you were going through. So that's what arm definitely means to me. Like Jimmy said, it got started. He initially was the one to step off to the side and say, I'm not doing anything until the school produces a statement saying that they stand behind us and show that they truly care about what we're going through, what's going on outside this campus, what we're dealing with day in and day out in America. If he hadn't stepped to the side and did what he did, other players wouldn't have been had the courage and bravery enough to do the same. We wouldn't be here right now. The march wouldn't have happened. We wouldn't have woke people up. We wouldn't have made a change. We wouldn't have made a step toward change if he hadn't, been brave enough and shown enough courage and enough manhood to step out to the side and say, and stand up for what he believes in. Because it's the honest truth. Like, you expect us to come out here and risk, basically our lives in this virus and, playing ball and stuff like that, and going to class, doing this work, and then being at practice, working out, things, all the things of that nature, and you actually making, we as the African Americans on campus and just every other ethnic group within the campus as well, basically making us think that you don't really care, just because you didn't produce a statement showing that, you stand behind us. I understand. We understood that, and you initially, doing a statement during the summer about, the virus and George Floyd, that was good then, but to turn around and the same stuff still be going on, but it's getting worse, and you still not saying anything, you just letting stuff blow over, and no one has initiated, anything about a protest or a march or us saying that the administration or the faculty and staff or anything, posting anything or making it known that you all stood in solidarity with us. And I mean, when Jimmy actually brought it up and said something about it, it got a lot of us thinking, and we were like, man, that's the truth. You know, it's like they kind of trying to not really say anything. They stand with they feel where we coming from, you know, but it was like they didn't really want to say anything because they didn't want to ruffle any feathers. So initially, if Jimmy had did what he did and knocked up some dust, he wouldn't be here right now making change and helping other people on campus realize that, you know, we need to see different views from different angles to truly understand what we're all going through and to truly come together, because it's always been said, a house divided can't stand. If we all unified, there is nothing in our lives that we can't conquer. There's nothing we can't do, you know. And day in and day out, the higher ups, and I mean in our country, I mean in the world, they don't want everyone to come together because they know what can truly happen. They put all these dividers in place, whether it's religion, whether it's, you know, sex, like male or female, or indifferent, whether it's Republican or Democrat. You know, you from this country, I'm from this country. You wear that color, I wear this color. You from this hood, you from this side of town. You know, there's so many dividers that have been put into place to put us against each other, basically. When we all can just come together in harmony and actually do. I mean, I don't know everybody was maybe watching or whatever, if you believe in God, but I know I do, and I know my brother does. God's initial plan was for us to, you know, live in harmony, live in unity, and not judge each other by our skin, by our beliefs, you know, by where we come from. Because that's not what it's about. Like Jimmy said, it's about what's on the inside of us. That's how you truly look at a person. It's not about what's on the outside of them. A man or a woman can be the most gorgeous, beautiful person on the outside, but can be just so evil and ugly on the inside. It's that simple. So it's what it's basically just all about, man, just coming together. And that's the whole point of this movement. It's the whole point of ARM is for us to come together and truly make a change within our campus, make a change within our community, and then work our way out into our country, and then work our way out into the world. Because you got to start somewhere. And that's my spiel, that's my introduction.
The theme for our chapel chats is everyone has a story, this is mine. Would you use this as an opportunity to give us a little bit of your story in terms of what you've experienced in terms of racism here, back home, wherever you're from? Because folks like me, we don't know your life. We don't know your experience. So would you share some of your experience with us?
All right, just to share my experience. I was born in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Grew up around Alberta area, Northport area, probably about 10 minutes from the University of Alabama. With that being said, there was probably a handful of Caucasian males in my school. So I came from predominantly African-American school. Went there, then about 7th grade, I moved to Hoover, where it was the complete opposite. There's a lot of Caucasians, you know, a lot of African Americans, but it was majority Caucasians, where African Americans became the minority, and where I had to make the adjustment of coming to a school where African Americans are a minority and coming from a school where African Americans were the majority. So with that being said, I feel like I can't relate to everything, but I done seen both sides of the spectrum, I feel like, personally. And with that being said, is growing up, I've always tried to give people the benefit of the doubt for being racist, because that's always a term in my family that my mom, my grandma didn't like to loosely use, because to just call somebody a racist based off how they treated you with 20 seconds out their day, and you don't know what happened 2-3 hours before that can have them in that attitude, that funk. You can't, who am I to judge you off the 20 seconds you give me? So with that being said, I done seen racism, especially brewing in the Deep South. I done been walking on the side of the road and been called the N-word for no reason. My day is ruined for somebody else being ugly for 10 seconds. And I done been around people who try to be racist towards others. And I mean, if they were to tell the story, apparently they'd probably include me, whether my mouth was closed or shut, and I didn't say anything. So I feel like at the end of the day, that I done seen it be dished out, and I done seen it be dished out onto me. And honestly, I just don't think it has a place in this world. Like, there's no reason on why we should have to be ugly to each other. I mean, at the end of the day, you go to sleep like I go to sleep, and I wake up and put my feet on the floor the same way you do. The same things you feel at night, and when you can't sleep and you're lonely, I have those same feelings. But because of something I can't choose, my color, instead of you trying to judge me or say things harmful to me about things that I can choose, the things that I do like, you'll rather try to come at me for things that I can't control that were given to me. And there's no way I don't see how we can say you're a Christian and we're all made in the image of God, yet I'm a little darker than you and it's a problem. That's my biggest problem with it. So with that being said, I feel like at the end of the day, it's just pointless. And I feel like it's choice right now where you have to choose not to be racist and to come together and unify, or to be on the other side of the line and just be stubborn and stuck in your ways. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people may not understand because it hasn't happened to them. But I'm not asking you to understand, I'm just asking you to acknowledge the fact that it is true and that people that walk among you every day have been through it. Whether it's you or whether it's me, and whether I haven't gone through it, who am I to say that Brandon hasn't gone through it? So my biggest thing with race is I've seen it, I've had it dished out, I've been around people to dish it out. It's pointless. There's no reason for my day to be ruined, maybe my week to be ruined off of 3 harmful words you said that when you don't know me and you don't have nothing nice to say, it shouldn't have been said at all. Thank you.
I'm from West Tennessee, Southwest Tennessee, Haywood County, Brownsville, Tennessee. It's right in between Memphis and Jackson, Tennessee. So like I said, we're in Southwest Tennessee. Like, we might as well be down in Mississippi. Might as well, because Memphis crosses over into Jackson, Mississippi, and things of that nature. So I was born and raised in Brownsville, Tennessee. I started off, I was raised in the country, with my grandfather and just the rest of my family. And then we moved to the city. We lived in the hood, and then, we moved, back to a nice part of town. But I've seen it all. I've seen all sides of the spectrum, honestly. Haywood is considered a predominantly black town, a predominantly black county. Shelby County and Haywood County are the only 2 predominantly black counties within Tennessee, if you all didn't know that. So being from Brownsville, Tennessee, you see a lot of things, and you just naturally learn that it's a lot of things that you just, you don't do. You know what I'm saying? So to start with my grandfather owned a farm, and he was supposed to get the deed to his home, to his land, and it just was never given to him because it was owned by a white man. And my grandfather lived through, working in the fields and, slavery and things of that nature. He didn't finish school because he dropped out of school to go help his family, basically eat. So, I've seen him, do it all. Like, he had a pig pen, on the side of the house. He just did it all. He had horses and things of that nature. But it was a time where, I was too young to see it. But like I said, he lived through slavery. He lived through those times. And he lived through that systematic, oppression because, at the time before the owner of the land died, he was supposed to get the deed and own the land because he had been paying for it for so long. He had paid it off. Once he died, he didn't get it. Like the Caucasian individuals that was over it after the owner died, they didn't give it to him because basically he was a black man. They felt like, I guess he didn't deserve it, And that's just one thing that that I dealt with back in that time. And then also, we can fast forward to, when we started school. I'm talking about playing football in middle school and in high school. And even basketball. I didn't play basketball, but I witnessed, our team be cheated and bad calls and things of that nature, just off the color of our skin. Just our disrespect off the color of our skin. Like, we would go play football games against predominantly white teams, and we knew we was going to get called the N-word. we knew they were gonna do like slick things like twist our ankle at the bottom of the pile, or like try to kind of eye gouge us, or anything to hurt us, basically. So it was one scrimmage in particular. We went to Hardin County. It's in Savannah, Tennessee, and we at the scrimmage. You know, we getting called at the end where they making a whole lot of bad calls, and we as players, we were taught, to just play the game, play for the next play. That's what you got passed on for. Football is a legal fight, so handle him the next play. So it got to a point where our black coach at the time, he stood up for us. He basically lashed out on the referees and on the opposite team because he knew it was wrong the way we were getting treated. He was so upset about it to where he began to cry. Like, we seen our coach cry for the first time at this scrimmage. He was our defensive coordinator. And, as a player, seeing that and seeing that our coaches even have to deal with such things, it's wrong. And it's just something we have to deal with on a daily basis. And even in Haywood, we was a predominantly black school, but it was just as many white people that went there as well. So, you can be friends. Say I'm black, so I didn't really mess with white girls, or so I say Caucasian women, because I seen a movie called Daddy's Little Girl, and it was by Tyler Perry. And in the movie, he's a star. Idris Elba was a star basketball player. And he went to a party with one of his basketball teammates, and they had a big party because I think they had just won state championship or something. And he's supposed to be going to college to play ball. And he had sex with one of the white girls at school at her house, and when her father walked in, she said that Idris raped her. And he went to jail for something that he didn't do because it was consensual. So he lost out on his college career. He lost out having a chance to go to the league. And he also had little girls, and he ended up not basically being able to be a part of their lives until he got out. And so his whole life is thrown away because of a lie. So that scarred me. I just didn't mess with white girls like at all. I would be their friend, but it's just something I just wouldn't do because I didn't want it to happen to me. Because in society that we live in today, what you gonna believe? You gonna believe the so-called, fragile white girl, or are you gonna believe the big black man? Because to society, we're scary. We do what we want to do. In some instances, we're not even considered human. So, I just didn't do that. I'll be their friend, and even then, even after I graduated and I came to Cumberland, I had younger teammates that ended up getting with white girls, and it was all fine and dandy until the white girl brought him home to their house, and their father was like, "Who is this? I don't approve of this," because he's black. You can be their friend all you want to, but when it comes to doing anything as far as being a boyfriend or anything of that nature, as a black man with a white girl, it's not happening. It's not happening at all. And it's a lot of times it's not the mother, it's the father, and it's the grandfather. It's the older generation. Because as children, you don't see that. You see what's on the inside. You don't see color until you taught it. It's that simple. Because coming up in Haywood from preschool all the way up until it was time to understand, what was really going on, I would say by 5th and 6th grade, on up to high school, you didn't think about that at all. You just played with who you want to play with. You was cool with who you were cool with. But then as you get older, you just naturally see things to just start to divide, and people in their certain places and things of that nature. Because even when we would go to lunch at school, you would have a table with all the black people, then you have a table with all the white people. Natural thing that just happened on a daily basis. We had Hispanics that went to the school as well that were real cool, and they even kind of like sat to themselves. They mixed in with us sometimes, but they even sat to themselves. But as far as black and white, definitely, especially the so-called popular. If you were popular, all the popular black people sat together. All the popular white people sat together. It was never a mix, for real. Honestly, it wasn't. Other than being on the field, you played football. And as far as basketball, you really didn't see a white person on the basketball team. You see one here and there. He had to be a baller to do that, honestly. And then if you looked at the football, you would see most of the white guys was on offense, and you see most of the black guys on defense. And the defense was a lot of times considered the bad guys. Defense was considered the more rugged, rough, aggressive, and the offense was always considered the savior. And it's just something just being inbred in the game in itself. And this can go in so many directions, but this is just some of the things that we have to deal with being in the South. Like I said, I stay in Southwest Tennessee, but Jimmy, my brother, he actually stays in the South, like he's below Tennessee. Tennessee just so happens to be an area where everything comes together, like from the North and from the South, it's just where everything just comes together and it's one. You will see a little bit of everything. And to go back to football, we were talking about predominantly white teams. We knew once we crossed that Mississippi into East Tennessee, we knew we were going to have to deal with a whole lot of stuff that, we don't have to deal with back our way. We knew we was going to deal with the N-word. We knew we was going to deal with the slick shots. We knew we were going to deal with unfairly called games. We knew we were just going to naturally just deal with all of that just because we were a black team and they didn't want to see us succeed. There's a lot of things we were cheated out of just because we were black. So, that's my spiel on it. And I hope you all better understand where we come from, why we function the way we function, and why we do what we do. Because we have enough dealing with our own skin. And to be rejected by everything else in the world takes a toll on a person. Even if you're not being badgered every day, but for you to know that higher ups and administration, things of that nature don't truly care about you enough to protect you and to put things into place to make sure you succeed just like they do their own skin color. It's crazy. It's hard to deal with, especially like I said within our community. A lot of us don't even love ourselves, and we can't even come together enough to make sure each other succeed. Because they'll see somebody else in our community winning, and they'll do whatever they got to do to turn them down. Some of us, a lot of them don't end up like us. A lot of them don't end up positive and wanting the best for everybody. A lot of them end up stuck in the hood doing the same thing day in and day out. Not wanting to change, not wanting change. So to have to beat the odds as far as that, beat stereotypes, beat prejudgments, it's hard to deal with. And like I said, it takes a mental toll on a person. It takes a strong person to make it here, to make it to college. Because we had plenty of teammates on our team that if they were to tell you their story, you'd be like, how did you make it? You would literally ask them, how did you do it? And for them to come to another school and have to deal with the same situation, deal with the same thing, it's disheartening and it's hurtful. But to know that you have a faculty and staff and administration, have you all have shown, stands behind us and willing to help, it helps a whole lot.
All right, Brandon, you opened the door for a question that's maybe kind of risky. How is it here on this campus? How have you all felt? I'll just leave it at that. How have you all felt here at Cumberland?
The question was how I felt as far as situation here at Cumberland. There's some days I wake up and I feel like it's a family, depending on who I see. And there's some days I wake up and I feel like I'm up here by myself, depending on who I see. And that's just the truth. I feel like I could wake up and I could see teammates of other teams, I could see students of other teams, speak, and everything just feel at home. And I could wake up the next day and see a few faculty and staff members and people of the board or higher up and not speak, and I kind of feel like I'm out here by myself. And I feel like the biggest problem with that is the lack of integrity and the lack of character we have today, and going home at night and knowing you did the right thing. I feel like at the end of the day, if you can live with the decisions you're making and you truly think they're right, then they're right. And I feel like right now, the only way we can fix this is if you stop letting that feeling in you that you know something's not right or you know a decision's not right, but you can't. I feel like as long as you're staying true to yourself and what you believe in and what's right and what you feel like is right, then we can change everything. But I feel like if there is going to continue to be a lack of character, a lack of integrity, and a lack of doing what you truly feel is right, then we'll be stagnant in this situation.
How do I feel here at Cumberland? Initially, before I came to Cumberland, like I said, I come from a predominantly black school. So, I meshed good with everybody. Everybody knew me and things of that nature. I was in good with everyone. The teachers liked me, the principal liked me, and things of that nature. But coming to Cumberland, I thought it was going to be a bunch of white people. I did. And I got here, and because I had some teammates. I had a cousin come up here, and I had a couple teammates that came to Cumberland as well. But from what I had seen, it looked like it was just going to be a bunch of white people on campus. But I got here, and it was totally different. And I feel like it shouldn't be that way because if you just went on Cumberland site and things they working, I appreciate, the university working on, meshing in diversity and everything. But initially, before I came here my freshman year, if you go on the site and things of that nature, you would think, Cumberland, white people went here. And it's a PWI. So when you hear PWI, predominantly white institution. So when I got here, I thought it was going to be a bunch of white people. I got on campus, and I seen a lot of more black people than I thought. And even when I went to football practice, it was a lot of black people on the team. And I felt more at home, I didn't feel so, I wouldn't say out of place, but I wasn't as, I guess you could say uncomfortable. Once I actually got to know, some of the faculty and staff on campus, got to know, my teammates. I was naturally do that anyway. Got to know other players, got to know other people on campus, got to know the cafeteria workers, some of the administration. As I began to get plugged in within the campus, I felt more welcome. I've seen different angles. I've seen both sides. As a student here at Cumberland, it's a lot of things you're not gonna see. It's a lot of things behind closed doors you just won't know, you won't understand. But once you actually get to know faculty and staff, you get to know administration, you'll begin to understand why they do what they do. And you'll begin to understand that you can actually say something. You don't have to bite your tongue because you feel like you won't be heard or you won't be listened to and something won't change. Sometimes you may have to apply pressure, but that's like life. Sometimes you have to apply more pressure to get what you need, get what you want, and for your voice to actually be heard, to make sure your peers' voices are heard. It's something you just have to do. You have to step up to the plate and say something. You have to open your mouth and speak. You can't just think that, they're supposed to just know. It's just like with a man and a woman, and they're supposed to be together. A lot of time, women just want you to know what they got going on, but they just have to say something, and it can go the other way. You can't, and it's just like with a friend group. If y'all friends with somebody, and what you do rubs them the wrong way, and they just, hold a grudge against you, you're like, what's wrong with them? It's because they won't even open their mouth and say that you did something wrong to them. They just leave you out to dry to let you find out. And it's the same way with us. We had to say something. We had to step up. We had to be man enough to say something. It's that simple, and that's what a lot of society that we live in today is missing, because the men in society are too much of a coward to step up and be a man. Of course, women, they more independent now, but they still need a lead. They still need to know that they got somebody standing in their corner that's gonna help them. They still need to know that the man's gonna protect them. They still need to know that. A lot of them feel like they can stand alone, but it makes them feel that much better when they have a man by their side that's gonna protect them, or when they have just if y'all just friends or anything. The men in their community will make them feel protected or unprotected. It's that simple, and pushes them to do different things that they normally wouldn't do if they had men within their community doing what they were supposed to do. So as far as Cumberland, you know, like I said, as I began to get plugged in, as I began to be more interactive and show face more, because I know my freshman year, I didn't show a lot of face. I went to football, I did my work, and I slept. Honest truth. And I didn't really begin to do different things on campus until my spring semester of my freshman year, and then it led over into my sophomore year. And then, you know, you began to see more and more and more. And you began to see, they started to see you influence program, you know, to add diversity to that and to do, somebody got to step up and do the things that others don't want to do. And I actually want to do the things that I step in to do. But some people are too, they allow their insecurities to get in the way. They allow doubt, self-doubt, and some self-hate, you know, to get in the way of them doing things that they want to do. So somebody has to step up and do what others can't, so to pave the road for others to do the same. Somebody has to do it. And I always thought, why not me? No matter what the situation was, somebody got to do it. And you got to always ask yourself, why not me? Because if you don't do it, I mean, it may never happen. So somebody had to build that bridge. So that's really my experience here. Actually talking to the president, actually talking to a lot of administration, a lot of the deans, faculty and staff. You know, they truly care. But some people just literally don't know because it's based on where they're from, based on what they dealt with their whole life. They just don't know how to deal with it. They just literally don't know. And it's crazy. It's crazy to think about from our perspective because, I mean, it's a lot of this stuff we've been dealing with our whole lives and they never seen it at all. So, like I said, it's best to speak up because you're not going to speak up. If you're not going to speak up, you might as well not even complain. If you're not going to make a change, don't complain. Because you're not man enough or woman enough to step up and make a change for yourself and for your community. So, that's my speech.
Thank you very much for your leadership and for your being willing to share. I regret that you have to carry this burden. I regret that this has been going on way too long, way too long, and that my generation didn't take care of it. I'm of the generation, I picketed with the sanitation workers in Memphis. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated just down the block from where I went to school. And I thought that during my lifetime, we wouldn't be where we still are. But we are, and I appreciate you guys being willing, as you say, to step up, make your voices heard, dare to make your voices heard, not knowing how that's going to be received from some folks. But I thank you for the role you're playing, and thank you for today. Thank you for the march, and thank you for today. Appreciate it. Do either one of you have anything else that you would like to say before we?
I was just going to leave them with some questions that they could ask.
Go ahead.
We had some questions that we were going to ask, but I want you all to ask it yourself, answer it for yourselves, and you could bring it to us, you know, me, Brandon Taylor, or Jimmy Turner, or to me, Hadarache. He's one of our teammates, and he helped make this happen as well. What did you think of the march and the idea of building unity on campus? That's the first question. Second question is, what would you change at CU about unity if you could? Second question. What kind of events do you want to see to keep moving this forward? Because, I mean, we have things that we are going to put into place, but we want to know what you think. And because, I mean, like I said, to unify and bring everyone's thoughts together, everything will flow that much better. And then 4, what is the best thing about your identity that we can celebrate at CU? Because we want to celebrate everybody. It's not just one side to things. there's so many other sides and there's so many other things that need to be represented here on campus. So that being said, those are the questions. You can ask yourself those questions. You can write down the answers. And like I said, you can get them to us, or you can get them to Katie Strauby. She is the director of Residence Life and Greek Life. So you can go give them to her and she'll give them to us. Or you can give them to Chaplain Mike Rifsky. Whoever you feel comfortable with bringing this information to, you can give it to them and they'll relay it to us. And we'll make sure we implement how you feel, your identity, and anything else that you feel needs to be voiced. Thank y'all.
Good questions. And I would like to say to our university campus that we're committed here to a mutual respect for each other. If anything is ever said or done to you that is hurtful, don't keep it to yourself. In order for us to be able to become the kind of community that we really want to become, those of us who are in positions of responsibility on campus need to know so that we can address those issues. Don't let them fester, and don't let them go silent, because we want to continue to improve as a Cumberland University community that I hope will become family. You know, you all refer to that. I hope that we can become truly a family. Again, thank you all so very, very much for today. Appreciate it.